Let's improve our living environment. In just 3 days, the monsters have grown significantly. It's quite a surprise. I'd call it an evolution. Does giving a name to a monster trigger their evolution? Come to think of it, Veldora did mention something about giving names. I remember him talking about nameless and named monsters. Of course, for monsters, getting a name means becoming a named monster. This raises their status as a monster, which then results in an evolution. That makes sense. No wonder they were so thrilled. This also clearly explains why my magicules were drained. The evolution of these monsters is incredible. They haven't just grown, they've practically become different monsters entirely. The goblin's formerly murky eyes now shine with the glimmer of intellect. And as for the female goblins, they've actually become quite feminine. I was so stunned I couldn't even speak. Huh? What? I had to do a double take. They were once little imps, almost like monkeys. The male goblins evolved into hobgoblins, and the female goblins became goblinas. I asked Rigurd about it, and he said he heard the world's voice. Apparently, everyone who evolved heard it, and he was so excited, telling me how rare that was. However, there's a serious problem. The female goblins were all wrapped in tattered rags, but because of their evolution, their figures have become rather voluptuous and alluring. I can't just call them female gobs anymore. The male goblins look incredibly happy about it, and yet they themselves are only wearing loincloths. First things first, we have to deal with the basics of life: clothing, food, and shelter. Clothing has to be the top priority. Aside from that, there's the issue of Ranga. He's so happy that I've recovered that he won't stop nuzzling me. While a fluff lover might find this irresistible, I'm more of a cat person myself. Still, I don't dislike it. Okay, Ranga, I only gave a name to you, so why did all of the Tempest Wolves evolve? Right, I ran out of magicules the moment I named Ranga. My lord, we Tempest Wolves are all in one. Therefore, my name has become the name of our entire species. I see. The entire species evolved under a shared name. He explained that their previous boss didn't truly believe in the all-in-one concept. If he had, that battle might have gone differently. In contrast, Ranga achieved complete control over his pack. Because of that, he succeeded in evolving his race from the Tempest Wolves to the Tempest Star Wolves. In short, he's just trying to say he got a lot stronger. He looked like he wanted to be praised, so I said, "That's great," and his tail started wagging so hard it looked like it was about to fly off. When a monster wolf that's 5 meters tall wags its tail, the wind pressure can nearly knock you over. I glared at him, and his dejected look was pretty funny. The real problem, though, is where to keep them. The wolves and hobgoblins that have paired up seem to be sleeping together. Actually, since they have no homes, they're using the wolves' warmth as a substitute for blankets. Clothing is an issue, but so is housing. What should I do? In front of me, there was a mountain of food. This was the answer to my question about their food situation, the second item on my list. Apparently, as soon as my magicules were depleted, everyone's evolution began. It was completed in 1 day, and they decided to hold a feast for the victory and their evolution all at once. But since I hadn't recovered yet, they couldn't get my permission, so they just gathered all the food first. While I was out of magicules, I did notice them fighting over who got to wipe my body, but I had no idea they were evolving or gathering food. A low activity state leaves me very vulnerable. I'll have to be more careful in the future. However, I can appreciate their initiative to do what they could without waiting for my orders. It seems their intelligence has greatly increased since they evolved. The mental changes may have been more significant than the physical ones. Before they evolved, the goblins lived by gathering nuts and edible plants or hunting monsters and animals. Now that they're working with the Tempest Star Wolves, their range of activity has vastly expanded. It's surprising, but it seems that those who have paired up can now use telepathy. The goblins riding on wolves are far more effective than any cavalry. At this point, you can't even calculate their combined combat strength by simply adding it up. They can now easily hunt monsters they couldn't defeat before. In just 2 days, they've managed to gather more food than ever before. However, a life that relies solely on the forest's bounty could be a problem if something happens. Eventually, I'll need to teach them things like farming and rice cultivation. A stable food supply is a fundamental necessity. I'll have to start by researching what crops are suitable for farming or if there's even a rice here. But that's a future task. For today, I'll just enjoy the feast without a care in the world. That day, the feast celebrating their evolution, the end of the war, and my recovery continued late into the night. The next day, I gathered everyone together. There were many issues to address, but I needed to communicate the most important thing first: the rules for living in this village. These kinds of things have to be decided at the very beginning. Rules are essential for group living. That's a natural Japanese mindset. Some foolish adults, like my past self, might say, rules are for forcing others to obey, not for following yourself. But that's just not right. I've come up with 3 basic rules. I want them to follow at least these 3. The rest of the minor rules I plan to just delegate to someone else. Has everyone gathered? All right, I'll announce the rules. There are 3 rules. I want you to follow at least these 3. Do not attack humans. Do not fight among yourselves. Do not look down on other races. I could have come up with more if I thought about it, but I didn't think they'd be able to follow too many at first. I listed what I felt was most important. Now, what will their reaction be? May I ask a question? Why is it that we must not attack humans? Rigurd asked. Rigurd glared at his son with a demonic expression. Did he think it was an act of defiance? I wish they would feel free to be more casual with me. The reason is simple. I like humans, that's all. I see, I understand. Huh? You understand? Just like that? But when I looked around, no one seemed to have any complaints. I expected more objections, so this was a bit anticlimactic. Well, you see, humans live in large groups. If you attack them, there could be serious consequences. If they got serious, we wouldn't be able to stand a chance. So, no attacking them from our side. Besides, it's more beneficial to get along with them. There was no other choice but to give them the prepared, more logical explanation. My real reason is, of course, that I like humans. I was a human once, after all. Ranga nodded deeply at my explanation. He must have had his own thoughts about it. Maybe he had a reason for thinking that attacking humans would be a bad idea. The hobgoblins looked even more convinced. Any other questions? What does "do not look down on other races" mean? Well, you guys have evolved and gotten stronger, right? So don't get carried away and act all high and mighty toward weaker races. Just because you've gotten a little stronger, don't mistakenly think you're better than everyone else. It's not fun if the other side gets stronger one day and decides to get revenge, is it? Everyone listened intently. It seems okay. Even if I give them this advice, there will probably be some who won't listen. But still, it's better to reduce the causes of trouble as much as possible. That's about it. Try your best to follow them. With that, I established the new rules for the village. However, these rules would later cause a single tragedy. Of course, at this point, I had no way of knowing. After all, a being who isn't a god can't see everything. Everyone nodded, showing their agreement. And so, a new era of communal living began. After establishing the rules, it was time for everyone to take on their roles. Some would be on patrol around the village, some would go on food gathering teams, others would gather materials for production, and still others would work on building houses and tools. The patrol would be handled by the remaining Tempest Star wolves who could use telepathy. There were 7 pairs left, but since Ranga is sticking to me, the other 6 would be on patrol. I decided to leave the detailed assignments to the former village chief, Rigurd. Rigurd, I hereby appoint you Goblin Lord. I want you to govern the village well. Honestly, this was a complete abdication of my responsibility. I tossed it to him with all my might. But you have to understand, my job in my previous life was in construction. Governing is not something I can do. More importantly, I can't let myself be tied down to this village and unable to go to human towns. I have to be a little forceful to make sure he accepts the role. However, this Rigurd will gladly accept this duty, staking my very life on it. He accepted it easily, with tears of gratitude. Yup, I'll be the leader who only gives orders. The king reigns but does not rule. I think that's a great phrase. I'll use it sometimes. But wow, this Rigurd. He used to be a feeble, wrinkled, and half-dead goblin, but now he's a brawny, muscular hobgoblin in his prime. What in the world is going on? Monsters really are full of mysteries. Good, I'm counting on you. By the way, I was watching you try to build houses, and you're terrible at it. Honestly, what they built couldn't be called houses. It is a shameful thing to admit, my lord. We have never needed such large buildings before. I see. Well, you've grown. Also, about your clothes, your exposure is a bit too severe. Can't you acquire some? There are some people we've done business with before. We may be able to get clothes from them. They are also very skilled, so they may know how to build houses. Since I used to work in construction, I know what's good and what isn't, but my own skills are only at a DIY level. I'm not a good enough teacher to instruct them. So, having trading partners who might be able to teach them, it sounds like a good idea to go there. I see. It might be good to go. What did you trade with them before? Was it money? No, we have some money that we've taken from adventurers, but we've left it alone. We mainly got supplies through bartering or by doing odd jobs for them. The tools we have were all provided by them. Oh, what kind of people are they? They are the dwarves. Dwarves, the famous race known for their master forging skills. I have to go. I've been so distracted by the clothes, I put it off, but their weapons and armor are pretty bad. Their armor was just as good as rags, but now it doesn't fit, so no one's wearing it. We could probably improve that as well. But they said there's not much left from the adventurers they looted, and they only have a little money. What should we trade with them? I guess there's no point in thinking about it now. I'll go there. Rigurd, can I leave the preparations to you? My lord, leave it to me. I will have everything ready by noon today. Rigurd was incredibly enthusiastic. I'll leave it to him. He'll probably prepare all the money they have. I wonder what this world's currency is. I'd laugh if it's paper money. Come to think of it, I'm not wearing anything either. If I'm going to a human town, I should find out about their currency. I guess I'll ask about that when I meet the dwarves. I've been busy lately, so I'll take a nice leisurely trip to visit the dwarves. Eventually, I'll have to go to a human town. Although they're demi-humans, it seems the dwarves' town is quite large. They even have a king, but Rigurd said the goblins were never able to meet him. Still, it's impressive that they were even allowed in the town. Will they be discriminated as goblins? I'm a slime, a monster. Will they be surprised? I have a few concerns, but my anticipation of meeting the dwarfs is much greater. For the first time in a while, I felt a sense of excitement.